We wanted to do some sort of advocacy thing. We want, our big thing in People First is, particularly in People First of Georgia, the mission statement is supporting one another and making a difference in our community. So we wanted to do something that would make a difference. And so it was like, what to pick? What to pick? Oh my gosh. So I said, you know what? Let's first talk about what would we like to see changed? Because I really believe that being able for people to be able to tell their personal stories is a very important part of writing a position paper. So we started out with stories, and somebody talked about curb cuts, and then somebody mentioned a problem with an ATM machine at this certain bank. And then other people started talking about having similar problems with that ATM and because of the way it was set up. So by the time it was done, we had like 5 stories, people's stories that had problem with the ATM. So we took a vote and we decided to do a position paper on why that bank needed to change its ATM machine. Now, we also had some good luck. It turns out that they were coming up on doing some updating of their ATM machines. So that made them very receptive. But we first we had some stories, but we also wanted to collect some data. So we did some surveys, and we surveyed both people with disabilities and people without disabilities, because we wanted people to understand that accessibility is really for more than just people with disabilities. There's mommies with strollers, there's delivery men, people, walking up on the street and different things that need accessibility too. Let's just be honest. And so accessibility is much more than just people with disabilities. So when we got the survey back, we had about 200 people. About half were people with disabilities and half were not. Now, we did that on purpose because we wanted to see what they would say was their issues with that ATM and see if there was a correlation. And there was. And so we were able to write a position paper. And in that position paper, we stated the facts and what we learned from this survey. We told, what we learned about what the problems people with disabilities were having and the problems that people without disabilities were having. And then we told the stories of people with disabilities, of the problems that they had with this ATM. So I thought we wrote a really compelling paper. And the great news is this particular bank chain decided to make some real changes with their ATM machine. Now, like I said, we were lucky. We did this at a time, unbeknownst to us, we didn't know it, but we were lucky that it was at a time that they were looking at updating those machines anyway. So that was really important part of making this happen, because they were already going to spend the money. So that made a big difference. And then, we reached out to the bank in such a way that, first of all, we reached out to the president of the whole banking corporation and then his board. And then we reached out to the presidents of the individual banks. So we did a really great outreach to them as well to make sure that we got people at this bank company talking about ATMs and what needed to happen to fix them to make them better.